Hi, I'm Irving. You have just entered Cartertopia. We established pretty much everything we needed to in the pilot. Our main characters, specifically Diana, Steve, Trevor, and General Blankenship. We found a plausible reason to get Wonder Woman to the United States to help fight against the Nazis, and we learned what she can and can't do and what resources she has available. We also learned that Major Steve Trevor desperately wants to know who she is, probably so he can propose. He's got it bad. Can you blame him? With that foundation, let's get the series rolling. One thing that sets this show apart from the other superhero-type shows that have been around, such as Batman and the Green Hornet, these episodes are a full hour long. That's a major investment in the show, which tells me the makers were throwing everything they could at it to boost its chances of becoming a hit. The longer format can allow for better, more complex stories, lots more time for character development. It was a good move. The next question will be, how fully did they take advantage of that extra runtime? That's what we're about to find out. It's a good thing they had that extra time right from the start, because as we saw in the pilot, the opening theme is nearly 2 minutes long. That could have been trimmed a lot, but the visuals that go with it are entertaining enough that it's not a huge issue. We open on Diana Prince, Major Trevor's plain-looking secretary, who's really Wonder Woman in disguise, doing basic secretary stuff when the General bursts in.
The FBI has proof that the top Nazi spy ring, the Abwehr, is definitely active again in Washington.
But I thought that their activity had stopped since Steve captured their leader, the Baroness von Gunther, and put her in prison.
That's why I'm worried. The FBI is going to fill me in later. But if those people have reorganized, then Steve could be in great danger. Tell Steve I want to see him the minute he gets back.
Yes, sir.
That was rather nice. Diana's little exposition dump there was a little stilted, as though she was having trouble reading it, but it was brief, to the point, and didn't get bogged down in details that we don't need to know. In 20 seconds, we learned who the antagonists are, who they're after, and why. Very well done. Diana says, "I'll get word to him right now." Naturally, she has her own unique way of doing that. I like the fact that she had to figure out something to do with her street clothes. We don't often see superheroes dealing with that. Superman compresses his clothes and puts them in a pocket in his cape. At least that's what he was doing a zillion years ago when I used to read the comics. I never did grasp what Batman and Robin did with their regular clothes when they changed away from the Batcave. But it's a good thing she hid the uniform, otherwise the General might have come back, seen the empty uniform, and thought she'd been raptured. We get a quick look at the Baroness in prison, where she's discussing plans with a sympathetic guard. At the same time, Major Trevor is preparing a squad to intercept a truck that's carrying supplies connected to the Baroness's group. I don't think running it off a cliff was part of the plan. They try to shore up the front wheels, then Trevor climbs in to try and back it up to safety.
Wonder Woman, am I glad to see you.
And you know he means it, because the lasso makes him tell the truth. But she's super strong. Why didn't she grab the truck by the back bumper and pull it away from the cliff?
Thanks.
What went wrong, Major?
I don't know precisely, but I just can't believe it was an accident.
Duh. You brought a rock slide down in front of him and made him run off the road. I'd say that's not an accident. Come back and try again when you're coherent.
But I was ordered to use that truck as the object of our training maneuver. How could it possibly be carrying weapons?
Not just weapons. A top secret shipment. New rapid-fire rifles for our troops overseas. They were supposed to be on their way to the arsenal at Fort Myer for dispersal.
The wrong truck was assigned to me deliberately. And I believe somebody tampered with that axle pin while it was being loaded. Somebody who knew what was in that truck and where it was going.
Oh, they meant why did it catch fire and explode, because it wasn't supposed to be carrying anything volatile. Thanks for clearing that up. That also explains why Wonder Woman didn't pull the truck by the bumper. The fire might have singed her hair. Anyway, that means there's a spy in the War Department, and the FBI has a suspect.
And it has information implicating you.
Me? A spy? Oh, somebody's got to be kidding.
It's hardly a kidding matter, Steve. Discrediting a famous war hero like you could deal a serious blow to the morale of the entire country.
But what proof do they have to support such an accusation?
Enough for the Senate to call a secret hearing.
The president has chosen a famous steel magnate, Arthur Deal III, to direct the investigation. Deal has a reputation as a patriot's patriot, so he should do a good job.
3 other important weapon shipments have been sabotaged recently. The FBI has established that in each case, you were on the scene or nearby.
I was always on military business under top secret orders.
Yes, and Arthur Deal has requested copies of all those secret orders.
Diana goes to pull the file with the secret orders, but oddity of oddities, it's not there. While he and Diana puzzle over this, Steve gets a call.
I've got some valuable information for you, Major, about that Army weapons truck that was sabotaged yesterday.
What about it?
The axle bolt was unscrewed.
Who is this?
If you want information about who sabotaged the other 3 shipments, come to the Old Virginia stables on the Fort Myer Road.
He tells Diana all of it and what the caller wants him to do.
No, it's too dangerous. It could be a trap or an ambush. Either way, it's dangerous.
Gee, I knew ambushes were dangerous, but I didn't know traps were too. I learned something today.
Gentlemen, Prince,
Yes, General.
have you been able to find the files for Major Trevor?
No, sir. I've looked everywhere. They're gone. Major Trevor seems to think that they may have been stolen.
Well, keep looking. Without those orders, Steve has no proof of his innocence. You must find them.
Yes, sir.
What was the point of that? Is the general supposed to be holding her up until Trevor leaves so she has to track him down? But he's still in the car when the scene ends. It looks more like filler than anything else. Trevor heads out to the stable, goes into the barn, and finds the unconscious, or dead, they don't actually tell us, soldier.
You never learn to mind your surroundings!
The saboteur puts him in the other soldier's jeep, then sets the place on fire. He puts a box of matches next to the unconscious Steve to make it look like he set the fire. Wonder Woman is running down the road to the stables. Why isn't she using her invisible plane? Or at least a taxi?
I have a hot tip for you, Sergeant. It concerns Major Steve Trevor.
Who is this?
You'll find him at the Old Virginia stables on the Fort Myer Road. He just set fire to its stockpile of ammunition.
Yay! So that's the game. And presumably he was overcome by the smoke and lost consciousness before he could drive out of the barn, and thus he perished with his vile handiwork. That's brilliant. And in 1942 they didn't have the forensics to discover otherwise, because by the time the police get there, Major Steve Trevor will be
Over there, and up there.
Wonder Woman arrives, assesses the situation, and hears the police coming. Time to get out of there. She loads Steve and the unconscious soldier into the Jeep, then uses her super strength to push it out. Or not. We're missing a lot of opportunities to show off her powers here. They get away just before the police arrive.
You're all right, Steve. Just lie still. It's me, Diana. You're in my apartment.
There's no doubt now. The sabotage ring that the Baroness was running is active again. Time to pay her a visit and see what she knows about it. While they're talking to the warden and he's explaining what a model prisoner the Baroness is, there's a racket outside his door.
Now, excuse me. What's the trouble, Hanson?
No trouble, Warden. Just trying to keep the boy from disturbing you. He was fooling with the door.
I was not. I was taking fingerprints.
I told you to stop spending all day playing detective.
I will, Father, honest. But first I have to solve the mystery of this secret tunnel.
Tommy, no more of this Sherlock Holmes nonsense. You understand? Now, run outside and play. It's a fine afternoon. Come on.
That's not going to come back and bite him in the butt. No way. We can already see that Tommy is the real brains of the family, and he's onto something. He'll keep sleuthing for most of the episode, and his dad never believes him. By the time we get to the big reveal, you want to slap the dad silly and hire Tommy as the warden.
My son lives in a fantasy world. Secret passages, men flying spaceships to the moon. I wish he had more children to play with so he wouldn't spend so much time reading.
Most parents beg their children to read. I've been thoroughly blessed because all three of my kids have always been voracious readers. This genius wants his kid to not read so much. Is it time to call Child Protective Services yet? I'll bet they could set Tommy up as warden and make his dad one of the inmates. Minimum security, of course. He's too dumb to cause any real trouble. While the warden takes Trevor and Diana to see the Baroness, Tommy follows some footprints until they disappear behind a pile of boxes. He moves the boxes and finds... He found that key on the ground near the boxes. Looks like somebody dropped it on their way out. The tunnel leads outside the wall, so if someone knows where that door is and has the key, they can come and go as they please. I wonder who else has a key.
That's an interesting pendant you're wearing. Was that made in Austria?
This? I don't know. It's an heirloom. One of the few personal possessions I have left. The warden was kind enough to let me keep it.
May I see it?
Of course.
Diana makes an excuse to leave the room and rushes off to rescue Tommy. That ladder he's on is about to come loose from the building.
Hold on! Steady now. We'll be down in a minute.
That's more like it. Her golden lasso changes into a nice long hemp rope and they climb down. Tommy was trying to get to the tower because he saw someone up there the night before flashing signals to someone on the outside. She sees Steve coming and realizes she doesn't have time to get her lasso. She entrusts it to Tommy and takes off to change back to Diana Prince. Big problem that neither of them realize, the Baroness saw the whole thing through her window. She knows Tommy has the lasso.
I want you to get a message to Thor. Tell him I must see him tonight. Now that Major Trevor is suspicious, we will have to discuss a change in plans.
Yes, Baroness. But I've lost my key for the tunnel door.
Take mine for now. Hurry.
And that answers that question. Later that night... It's so heartwarming to see how attentive the warden is to where his son is at all times, isn't it? Tommy knows his dad won't listen to him, so he should show the tunnel to Wonder Woman and have her discover it for the warden. Maybe that would get his attention.
Good evening, Thor.
Good evening, Baroness. I was surprised to get your message. It's unwise to contact me so soon after a sabotage incident.
That would be Arthur Deal III, the guy who's leading the investigation against Major Trevor. He's actually a Nazi spy. Raise your hand if you didn't see that coming. They've gone all out to make Trevor look like a spy, and it was going well until the stable thing. The Baroness says she's convinced Wonder Woman helped him escape. With her on his side, Trevor could bring them down. They have to stop him.
Why not capture him? We can change our plan and make it look as if he defected to the Nazi cause. Perhaps we can even arrange to have him present when the rocket shipment is destroyed.
Excellent. Then he'll be blamed for that, too. It will thoroughly discredit the American war hero even sooner than we planned.
The big question is how to do it. General Blankenship tells Steve that Arthur Deal has moved his hearing up. He has 24 hours to prove his innocence. But there's a twist.
Arthur Deal has offered to meet with you tonight. Listen to what evidence you have. If you can convince him of your innocence, he may postpone the hearing.
Well, it's worth a try.
Absolutely. He's expecting you at his Arlington estate in an hour.
That doesn't sound suspicious at all, especially since they'll be meeting at Deal's house and not at some neutral location.
I've done everything I can, Steve. I'm afraid it's up to you now.
I can't tell you how sad that makes me because I know you'll screw it up.
What are you reading, Tommy?
The Hound of the Baskervilles.
Sherlock Holmes was almost killed solving that case, wasn't he?
Have you read Sherlock Holmes, too?
Oh, I used to, before I came here. He's my favorite detective.
Do you believe in him? I do. Father says it's just a story, but I think he was real.
Oh, of course he was. Why, he's as real as Wonder Woman, and she's one of my closest friends.
He just takes that statement at face value, even though he's met Wonder Woman and she didn't say anything about the Baroness.
As a matter of fact, I got a message from her this morning. It's a message for you.
Honest? What is it?
She wants to be sure you're taking good care of the golden lasso.
Well, I am. It's in a real safe place.
Good.
She says maybe you should check on it just to be sure. He does, and of course her guard follows him. While he gets the lasso, Trevor is explaining himself to Arthur Deal III.
Well, I'd be willing to bet that that key opens a secret door in the prison wall somewhere. One that leads outside, and the Baroness uses it whenever she wants, with the help of a Confederate on the inside.
Which accounts for the renewal of their activity.
Arthur Deal III is a Nazi spy? Who could have imagined? They couldn't have made it more obvious if they'd tattooed a swastika on his forehead. So Steve is captured. Later that night, Tommy is back in his favorite tree. At Deal's house, they've written a nice confession for Steve to sign.
You'll never get me to sign that.
He'll sign. Do you recognize this, Major?
That's Wonder Woman's golden lasso.
That's right. And if you ever want to see her alive again, you'll sign that letter.
Wow, that was beyond brilliant. At the War Department, they've found Steve's Jeep abandoned with said confession on the seat. They're scrambling to find some way of proving he signed it under duress, and Diana says she has some papers of his at her apartment and leaves to go get them.
Hello, Tommy.
Wonder Woman, your lasso, the Baroness stole it.
No, when?
Tonight. And she and Hanson took it away. I saw them leave in a car.
Did you see the license number?
Sure. 23605. I wrote it in my casebook.
The War Department really needs to hire Tommy. He's the most efficient person in the whole episode. The car is registered to Arthur Deal III with an address. Suddenly we're there.
Good evening. We've been expecting you, Wonder Woman.
All those powers, she can change her voice, she can run like the wind, and she's not immune to knockout gas. Back at the prison...
She's escaped the Baroness. She's not in her cell. Escaped? What are you waiting for? Sound the alarm. Don't let anybody in or out. Search every cell, use every man we have. The Baroness must be apprehended. I'll take charge of one detail myself. Not now, Tommy. The very dangerous prisoner has escaped. Now go to your room and lock the door and stay there until I send for you.
But Father!
A kid who's been playing detective all this time and who can go places and not be seen because he's a kid couldn't possibly have anything to contribute. That bite in the butt is really gonna hurt.
I know how the Baroness got out. She used a secret tunnel behind the old crates. He just...
So, you've been spying on the Baroness, eh?
Hanson.
No. Back at the house, the Baroness is being a good villain and expounding her plan.
Nazi spies are wiring the wharf with dynamite. We're going to take you there, Wonder Woman. You and Major Trevor. Now, doesn't that sound cozy?
If it works.
Of course it will work. And after the shipment is blown up, your bodies will be found by the blasting lever. 2 spies who died for the Nazi cause.
Let Tommy go.
Tommy will be released once she's out of the country on a U-boat. At the prison, Warden Dad of the Year learns that both Hanson and his son are missing. He spots something.
This is Tommy's. He calls it his detective casebook. Case of the old tunnel. Clues. Magic stone near old well. Signal lights. Rusty door in wall. Hooded cloak. A secret tunnel.
Yeah, your kid uses it all the time, Super Dad.
Perhaps there really is such a tunnel. The prison has been thoroughly searched, and this is what Tommy was talking about. Start searching the base of the prison wall.
Search for what, sir?
A hidden tunnel. What else? And hurry.
Do you want Nazis? Then you'd better listen to your kid, because this is how you get Nazis.
License number 23605. Have that number traced and report back to me.
Yes, sir.
Use the secret passage. It's faster.
Yes, sir.
Naturally, he becomes an instant authority on it. Baroness and company prepare to leave. They plan to take Steve with them and put Wonder Woman in the trunk of the car. What they'll do with her after that is anybody's guess. They have her tied with some new super-duper chains that the Nazis developed that even she can't break out of. Chalk up another one to false advertising. She and Steve mop up the crew, but the Baroness herself slips out.
I'm going after the Baroness.
I'll go with you.
No. You have your hands full here. And take care of my friend Tommy, please.
You're just a man. You'd better stay here where it's safe. Wonder Woman is super strong. Presumably the Baroness isn't. How is she able to wrestle Wonder Woman to a standstill like that? She finally breaks out her now recovered magic lasso and captures the Baroness with it.
It looks as if you're going to have more time to read about democracy, Baroness. Lucky you find it so fascinating. Perhaps now you'll appreciate it and learn from your unwomanly mistakes.
Not unpatriotic or any of that. Your biggest infraction is being unwomanly. A few hundred years on Paradise Island should cure that.
And so Wonder Woman captured the Baroness. Fortunately, the missile shipment is now safe.
Good show. I'd like to have seen Wonder Woman in action.
I bet the Baroness didn't enjoy it much.
The General says, I can't believe Arthur Deal III is a traitor.
I did some research about Arthur Deal, and it seems that he's a victim of his own avarice. But perhaps he, too, can learn from his experience.
Diana, your understanding and compassion are amazing. You really do believe that people can learn to change for the better?
Of course, anybody can, even stupid Neanderthal-brained men. We have a good start here. Steve and Diana are getting to know and understand each other. We had a believable conflict. Really, I can even believe the bit with the Warden and Tommy because I've seen dads like that. We had good pacing and everything that happened fits within the realm that we've created so far. If they can keep up this kind of quality, this is going to be an excellent show. Let's see what they come up with next time. Until then, I'm Irving, and you are now exiting Cartertopia.